Welcome to the Going North podcast, where we will deliver you tips and techniques to advance yourself in anything you decide to do in life. I'm your host, Dom Brightman, and every Thursday I will be delivering inspirational and informational content with interviews from various authors, especially self-published ones. Be sure to check out my book on Amazon.com called Going North. And now we'll be getting into our interview. And today on the Going North podcast, you have heard from some of the best, but you haven't heard from one of the best. This guy is easily in my top 3 public speakers of all time because I met him back in 2014 when he was touring the nation, giving speeches and selling his book, You Are the Boss, and now he has exploded and 10x'd his life. He is a master influencer, investor, and success coach. I wouldn't have this podcast, I wouldn't be an author, and I wouldn't have the success I have today if it wasn't for this guy right here. And this special guest right here has a TED Talk that has over 5.5 million views. His books can be found anywhere from Baltimore all the way to Belgrade. He's a world traveler, and he is a millennial millionaire, my friends. This guy will help you advance yourself to new heights. And you may be wondering, who the heck is this guy? I'm talking about the one and only Daniel Alley. How are you, sir?
Hey, Dom, how are you?
Doing great, doing great.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir, I can.
Well, you sound good. And again, my name is Daniel Alley. What do you have for me? What are some of your questions? Let's get this show on the road.
Yes, sir. So you basically, if you could just tell us a bit about yourself and fill in the gaps where I may have missed during the introduction.
I started my business when I was young. I was in my early 20s, and it all started after I graduated school. And there's 4 major institutions that many of us are associated with. The 4 major institutions are school, work, home, and church. And when I left these institutions, I realized that I didn't have the skills necessary to pay the bills. I thought to myself, I can do a lot of things. I have a lot of potential. I'm young, but I don't know how to actually succeed. School didn't teach me success. They didn't teach me how to set goals. They didn't teach me about money and time management and relationships and mastering my craft. I decided to become a teacher. First, I had to become a student of my own accord. So I took education into my own hands. And even though I had went to school for about 16 years or so, I started reading a lot of books. I started looking for mentors. I started going to conferences, and I started asking myself tough questions. Soon I started giving speeches, and I would speak to 10, 20, 50 people at most. Then I discovered that the internet would provide me a greater opportunity to reach more people. So I began writing articles. Started writing articles on LinkedIn, got hundreds of views, then thousands of views. Then it made it really big when I started writing for big magazines. Magazines like Time and Fortune and Yahoo and MSN Money and Fox and Huffington Post and all these other magazines picked me up. They loved my work. Then I started building my business in a different way. I said, you know what, speaking and writing is cool, but let me start helping people in the branding world, in publishing in websites and social media. So I formed my second company, Dignified Designs. My first company is called The Alleyways, my main company. My second company is called Dignified Designs, and we publish books. We help people get their brand started. We're your one-stop shop for everything branding. And basically, we do everything to help other people ensure that their message is out there into the world, whether it's their personal or professional brand. Recently, Dom, as you know, I just did my first call in the School of Wealth, and that is, conference calls that I've been helping a lot of people, but sometimes I come off of these calls and I'm like, man, I can help more. School of Wealth has been something I've been working on lately.
It's amazing how you can just take yourself from just a guy wondering about success and studying to success to now having your own online school of wealth. You're basically the dean of wealth right now with your own school. How does it feel?
It feels really good. You know, this is a process in the making. It's taken me many years to develop, invested in other people's businesses and my own businesses. And now is really time to give back. It's time to teach and share my lessons learned over the past few years, the mistakes, the successes, the adversities, the challenges that I've overcome. I think this is a phenomenal way to just feed the people, if you will, and give them the knowledge, the wisdom, the ideas that they can need to perpetuate their own success. Yeah?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so we want them to go north, you know. I started in poverty. I was born in the Bronx, New York, raised in welfare, lived in basements with roaches and rats, got beat up, used drugs for 8 years plus. You know, I've lived a life. I've seen a lot of things, had 40 jobs by the time I was 21, but you know, my early 20s, I decided to turn it all around, and that's what got me to where I am today. So not only do I have professional success, but personal success. You know how that goes down. You know, you're a successful guy yourself, so it just takes a lot of work and tenacity to get to where you are.
Yes, tenacity. That's actually one legendary points in one of your signature speeches from a while ago. I believe it was audacious, contagious, and tenacious, right?
How to act like a leader.
Yep, there we go. That was the title.
Yeah, ACT. You got to be audacious. You got to take a risk and be bold. When you're audacious, you automatically become contagious. You draw people in because of who you are and what you do. And then you become tenacious once you realize that you gotta step it up. And even though you got success, you know, on a small scale, now you gotta be big again. You gotta try harder. So you gotta be tenacious. So if you're audacious, contagious, and tenacious, then you become a phenomenal leader. You become a person of true character. And I think, Dom, that's one of the first speeches. Well, that's the speech you heard me give.
Yeah, and that was only the beginning, and now look where you are now.
Well, it's been, you know, a little over 1,000 speeches since then. TED Talk, over 5 million views. We made a lot of money, traveled the world. It's only the beginning, you know. There's just so much more to do. There's so much to accomplish. There's so many opportunities. You just gotta be thankful, you know. You gotta count your blessings and realize the things that you have instead of the things that you don't have. And, you know, a lot of people, they criticize, they condemn, they curse, but really you gotta, like, open up your eyes and see, you know, the opportunities that, you know, God and the universe presents to you. And if you see them, then you can eventually capitalize on them and just go even further faster.
That's true, and it's very fast indeed. Remember, I think a little bit early mentioned how you were doing drugs for 8+ years, and you're able to turn it around in your 20s. Some people are lucky to make it to their 40s, and that's when they start turning it around. So what advice would you give to someone who may be going through like that addiction problem right now to just turn their lives around for the better?
Well, that's a really good question. Stop conforming and start performing. You know, I think the biggest thing is that we end up trying to fulfill other people's expectations instead of living up to our own. I think it's time to look at ourselves and ask ourselves, is this really what we want to do? Do I really want to smoke that weed? Do I really want to do that line of coke? Do I really want to smoke that cigarette? Do I really want to drink this whiskey or this vodka? Do I really want to go down this route? You know, you first have to accept that it's a path of destruction. You know, I've talked to a lot of people who smoked weed and they're like, weed's not bad. Well, you know, some could say it's, you know, not bad, but in my opinion, you know, it doesn't help you to achieve your highest goals. It doesn't allow you to become the fullest person that God has made you to become. You know, when you smoke cigarettes, your teeth become yellow. You start spitting out phlegm. You don't feel good. You know, your stamina is decreased. You smell badly. And I know that because I've been there. So just look at the repercussions and the results of doing these things and ask yourself, if I do this for the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, is this really going to make me become the best version of who I am? Just facing those consequences for me kind of scared me, and you know, I realized that this is not part of my character. This is not who I was divinely designed to be. God had a better plan, and I started discovering that when I read the Bible. And that's actually how I stopped smoking. People say smoking is one of the most addicting things, and you know, I didn't know how to quit. I couldn't stop. But the moment I opened up the Bible, I started reading Mark 9:23. It says, "If thou canst believe that all things are possible to him that believeth." And I began to believe in myself in a way that I just never thought I could. And I always tell people, you know this, if you believe in yourself, then everybody else in the world will believe in you. And in order to change your reality, you have to change your mentality, the way you think about yourself and others and the whole entire world. That's how it starts, you know?
Wise words and well spoken, I might add. I mean,
Thanks. Well, that's the top 3 speaker engagement. Thank you, number 1. You better move that up now.
this is true indeed.
Yeah, I gotta be number 1 over there. Throw me in.
So speaking of being a speaker, an elite speaker, what advice would you give to someone who's looking to themselves become a speaker?
Well, first, you have to speak the truth. You have to speak from experience. Practice what you preach and preach what you practice. And start joining Toastmaster groups. Start speaking at Rotary Club. Start looking in the mirror every day for 5 minutes. Give yourself a chance to face yourself and actually go out there and just do the thing. You know, the old saying is, if you want to learn how to speak, just speak. Go out there, articulate your words, read the dictionary, do everything you can to become a better speaker, a better teacher, a better leader, a listener, so that other people can follow you and they can listen and take your advice. So that's what I would say.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So is there any trials that you have to overcome during your thousands and thousands of speeches you had to give to help you realize, hey, how can I better this or sharpen this?
Well, of course. I mean, in anything, you're not only speaking, but any endeavor, you know. You're investing in real estate. There's so many things to watch for. Your education, you know, books that you should read and books you shouldn't. Sometimes people rave about one author, but that author is not for you, right? So you have to carefully dissect and discern what is going to work for you in your life. What should you actually start to apply yourself for? A lot of the trials is just facing the realities and understanding the truth that you have within your heart in your life. And what I see is that, like, a lot of people, they don't want to deal with certain things, certain problems. And that's where stress comes from. Stress is not the actual problem. It's how you think about the problem and how you deal with it and what solutions you're willing to bring to the table. And if you're facing stress, well, you know, you got to think about, well, what is it that's stressing me out and what can I do to deal with it? If it's the job, okay, deal with the job. If it's the speech, then go practice the speech. Or maybe change the speech, or, you know, do something differently. Maybe it's a different audience that you need to reach. Whatever it is. You know, just always be mending your approach. Always be changing the way you see the world and check your attitude. Maybe it's not them, maybe it's you. You know, just sometimes what you see in others is what you see in yourself. If you're annoyed by someone, it's probably you that's not annoying others. So, you know, always check yourself before you wreck yourself.
True indeed. It's always great to just check in on yourself and just make sure it's like, hey, am I okay, before seeing if everybody else is okay.
Exactly.
I like how you mentioned the Bible earlier, especially with the book of Mark. That's actually one of my favorite books in the Bible. So in addition to the greatest book of all time, is there any other book you'd recommend for folks to pick up and read and get yourself inspired to go out and do stuff?
Well, Dom, you know the answer to that question. You gotta read my 3 books. Go to danielalley.com. A-L-L-Y is my last name, Daniel, A-L-L-Y, Alley. And check out my latest book, The Abundance Mentality. It's going to be a life changer. And I know you've read it, Dom. I know a lot of people have read it. It seriously is the best book written on success besides the Bible. By the way, Bible stands for Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth. One of my mentors told me. And I'll never forget. It was such a good day, and how he told me that. It was just imprinted so subconsciously in my mind. But yeah, read the Bible. You know, the 66 books in the Bible. There's 39 in the Old Testament, 27 in the New. It's written in Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic by 40 different authors. And it's the divine word of God. And if you follow Jesus Christ with all your heart and believe with all your soul, then you will get to where you need to go. That's just how it works.
Well said indeed. It's also a testament to the fact that the divine word of God, the Bible itself, is still the greatest book on the planet. Folks like to knock it, but you can't deny the fact that if you really read and try to apply it to your life, it can work wonders for you.
Exactly. I've seen so many miracles. So many things has happened, and it's just inhuman. It's impossible for a man to do it, but only with God is possible. So I just witnessed it so many times in my own life and the life of others.
So for those out there struggling with faith, any advice that you would give to them for those that are Christians out there and they're just seeing all this stuff going on. They maybe watch the TV, then they get scared, and then they stay in their houses, they watch more news and get scared. What advice would you give to them?
Well, that's a vicious cycle right there. I mean, first you got to change your habits, right? The cycle of the habit of just, going to work, coming home, watching the news, reading the comments, getting into other people's minds. You got to get into your own. You got to start journaling. You got to write down all your thoughts. You got to write a letter to God and tell him everything you're feeling and how you're thinking. You just got to get it out there. You have to gain clarity, and you have to put away the things that distract you, right? And realize that each adversity will lead to equal or greater opportunity. Like, you might be facing a challenge today, but tomorrow it can be gone if you deal with it. Everyone, the good and the bad people in the world, they all have challenges to overcome. And, there's times in my life where I've dealt with situations that, like I said, was impossible. Like, there's no way I could overcome this. But, I looked up and I saw God and I said, there's gotta be a way. I can't give up. And making these constant affirmations, you see on my website, I have these 50 affirmations. And if you just make these affirmations and say, you know what, I can do this, I am successful. I will reach my goals. I will become this person by the year 2020 or 2030. And you just keep affirming yourself in such a positive way. Eventually, if you believe in yourself, then everybody else in the world is going to believe in you.
That is right. That is true. Because some folks have trouble just with believing in anything, whether it be God, themselves, and they just need to try to get into the mindset of just, hey, like, I gotta believe that I can do this. I mean, no matter what the age, there's still something out there for me to do if I'm still alive and breathing.
Exactly. There's always a purpose to everything. That's what you're saying. And, a lot of times your purpose is greater than you. When I go out there and I speak in front of thousands of people, it's not me anymore. It's, God taking me there. It's the Lord helping me walk on water again. It's the Lord helping me turn water into wine. Just the ability to just see, like, the impossible, just see the invisible, has given me such power in this world to just do what people just, they're forced to say, wow, and how, and, it's just, and I don't just give them the wow, I give them the how too, I just,
Nice.
I can leave the earth and create a big bang, but I gotta explain myself and show people the steps that they need to take too, and that's why I write so many articles, I produce so many videos, I give so many speeches, and I just want to give back to the world, The secret of living is giving. You gotta give yourself away in an extraordinary way, in a way that sometimes is uncomfortable. I produce like a machine so that I can benefit other people. I don't get paid all the time, but I know that if you do more than you're paid to do, you'll get paid more than you do in every way possible. Not only in money, but in all forms of rewards. And that's just a fact of life. That's just a universal law.
Great words once again, especially the fact that you don't just give them the wow, you give them the how. Is that written down somewhere?
No, I better write it down now, though.
You got to put that in one of your picture quotes or something, man. That is good. Don't just give them the wow, give them the how.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
So speaking of doing, what advice would you give to yourself if you were 25 in 2017?
Well, if I was 25 in 2017, or any time, I guess, what I would tell myself is to really take the walk. Benjamin Franklin has this quote where he says, most people die at 25, but aren't buried until 75.
Right.
The fact is that a lot of people give up at that age. And so you can't give up. You gotta just turn another cheek. There's been so many people that succeeded at a late age. Maybe they've had success before, but, Colonel Sanders, for instance, he was in his 60s when he started KFC. Reagan, I think, was 69. He became president. Even Donald Trump and Hillary, they were 70 years old plus, I think Hillary was 69, Donald was 70. And whether you like them or not, Bernie Sanders was 74. These people are running for president. That's a lot of speeches, and you gotta give perspective no matter what you think. You just have to have endurance. So if I were 25, be in it for the long term, right? Don't just do it for the short term. Do it for the longevity, for the next 50, 100 years. Do it for many generations. Just become a legend in your field. Don't just become a worker. Don't just become a conformist. Do something wild. Do something that you never thought you can do before. And just accomplish your goals at the highest level. And just realize that, you gotta risk it all. Risk is the safest way you can go. When it comes to living your life, you only got one life to live. Why waste the time? Why not just go in and dive and face the goals? The worst you can be is better on a park bench. And if that's the worst, then I'm sure you can turn it around and make it better. I've known a lot of people who, they suffered financially, but they came back and they bounced it, or maybe they had a fear of criticism, fear of success, of becoming wildly successful. And, they overcame it. But you just have to do it. You just have to take action. You can't worry about what people think. You're just going to make it happen. That's how it works. And that's how you start this podcast, right?
Darn right.
Yeah. Overcome the naysayers. You overcome the naysayers and you're ahead of like 95% of people. You'd be ahead of the game.
So speaking of longevity and staying ahead of the game, where can the folks at home get in contact with you to learn more about you and sign up for your programs and buy all your written goods?
Well, Dom, you gotta go to danielalley.com. DANIELALLY. You're a member of the School of Wealth. If you're listening to your host, if you're listening to me, check out my website and check out my social. I'm just starting out, guys. You're just starting out. Always begin with a new mind, with a new attitude. And pick up one of my books, The Abundance Mentality. Just think about how good that title sounds. If you want the abundance mentality, get down my website, danielalley.com. And hope to see you guys soon. And thank you, Don, for the interview. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for just sharing some of your time with me, because it's really an honor just to share some time with you and just hear some more greatness.
Well, thank you so much, Don. Take care of yourself.
Thanks a bunch for your tuning ears on the Going North podcast. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to, once again, check out my book, Going North, on Amazon.com and CreateSpace.com. And if you'd like, feel free to follow me on social media at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at Dom Brightman, YouTube at Dom Brightman. And if you want to connect on LinkedIn as well, I am there at Dom Brightman as well. Go out there and make the rest of your week the best of your